Hello, this is Bob74H, and I'm coming back with another video today. Today I'll be talking about the character of Nightshade in Transformers, and the arguments people are having about, like, the gender-neutral stuff in regards to this character and just in general. A lot of the arguments I've seen are just brain dead on, like, both sides of the aisle. For one, I've seen the pro Nightshade, pro gender neutral side just go full brain dead. Like, there's this clip that I'm gonna put in after me saying this, of this one guy saying, someone dropped their keys is proof thereof of everyone using gender neutral context, but doesn't even make sense because it's being used with regards to an unknown party. So you don't know their gender. So that's why you're saying there. Plus, linguistically, you can't make sense of the meaning of this phrasing unless you use, like, let's say, for example, Michael dropped their keys. Saying he dropped his keys does not make linguistic sense. It's not because we have a gender neutral, like, belief system entirely. It's not like because of that, you know? When I mean us, I mean wider society here. I'm not saying like me or like my group or whatever context you're going to try to quote me under.
Singular sense to convey an unknown gender. The argument that they is only for plural is just historically incorrect. You find a pair of keys on the floor, you pick it up and remark, "Oh, someone dropped their keys," without even thinking about it. It's time to realize that language evolves. They is not just for plural anymore, and the context will be quite clear in your conversation if one or more people are being discussed. German gets by with sie, and sie, which is she, you formal, and they plural. So I think you can manage. The US has laws against discrimination and hate speech. Even Twitter and YouTube have them. But this
And then you have the other side, which, like, does the shitty, well, if kids see this, they're gonna emulate it type thing. And it doesn't even follow, because, like, if that was true, then wouldn't, like, people who watch Digimon, like, tamers, wouldn't they grow up to all be tomboys because Rika is a tomboy? Or wouldn't, if you watch G1 Transformers, wouldn't you be like a war philosopher, like end up as that because they question, like, the ethics of war and whatnot? Like, I don't get this point. Like, this point doesn't make, like, any amount of sense when you look at it from, like, a degree of logicality. But again, like, both of these sides are trying to win. They do not care about, like, actually having a decent discussion about anything. They're just trying to win and be as dishonest as humanly possible in order to do that. Like, they have no respect for being a logical, pragmatic, or like anything like that. They have no value for that. And they're just gonna say whatever they can to win. So when they say, well, Nightshade or whatever is trying to indoctrinate kids, it doesn't even make sense. Like, it's so astronomically stupid. Like, if you have the same character in the context of, like, let's say like it's a robot, no one would care. It's only because it's like an alien person thing that they care. And even then, so, like, I get it's like ideology put into the cartoon or whatever. Like, I get it. I understand that context. And you don't really like that ideology. However, are you really going to pretend this is the first time they've ever put an ideology into a show? Like, are you trying to tell me that there isn't scenes of, like, Daredevil being Christian or something? Or are you gonna say that Christianity isn't an ideology or some shit? And if you want to do that, fine, but you're just being dishonest.
To finally decide that I will not watch any more episodes is the fact that it is manipulating kids. This show is rated TV Y7. Now, if I put an impressionable 7-year-old in front of the TV and they hear Nightshade's pronouns are they, them, and then they hear Nightshade talk about how they don't feel like a he or a she, all that is going to do is confuse that child, because it is pressuring that question onto them. It is making them think, oh, do I feel like a he or a she? You should not do that to a kid. That is pure and utter manipulation, and it is disgusting. And if you are a parent and you don't know that this is coming up, you might not even know that your kid heard that. You might not know that your kid now has a question in the back of their mind that they didn't before they started watching Transformers Earthspark. It is gaslighting. They are gaslighting your child to be confused. That is what is happening. That is what that is. That is what it is doing. You want to put that in a show that is TV 14? Sure, it's still doing the same thing, but at least by that point, I would have had time to sit down with my kid and say, you're going to meet people with different ideas, different opinions, different perceptions, different emotions.
Going back to the leftist side of the argument on this topic, the leftist commentator in this instance, he says, there was never a like gendered context to Transformers. They're just like airplanes. Why would you call an airplane a she? It's an item. It's a thing, like a PlayStation or like a table. Isn't it, right? So here's the thing with that like context that he's trying to pull here. I'll link the actual quip where he says this afterwards, like I did with the previous instances before this. However, the problem being is this is an alien species with actually well-defined genders. Like there is an actual female Transformer and a male Transformer. There's, as examples of female ones, there's RC, Strong Arm, Windblade, and Black Arachnia, as well as some others that I'm not able to think of on top of my head. But there are plenty of, females in the Transformers series who are Transformers. So this doesn't make any sense. It's just, this guy saying his ideology, and like the right-wing dude, does not care for facts. We're actually gonna, after this point, I'm gonna just link both of them spurging out at the other side that they dislike. And it's literally like, if you change right wing to left wing, it's the same exact thing. They're just saying, oh my god, those bad insert group people here. Like, there's so little nuance. It's just these two parties childishly going, I don't like you. Well, I don't like you. It's like you all act like 2-year-olds. Like, you're grown adults, and you're going, oh my god, he acts this way, he acts that way. But, going on to, the actual point, like I said, there's various actual females in this series. So, it doesn't even make sense. Like, this guy in the same video references Transformers Prime. The one with a prominent female Autobot. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Nightshade is a robot, yes, so I don't know why people are freaking out this much. It's not like these robots even have biological sex. It's like demanding an airplane to be a man or a woman because you can't imagine any other form of existence. But let's say Nightshade was a human. They are still just a person who wants to live peacefully and neutrally. What of it? What has Nightshade done but be friendly, nerdy, and heroic in this show? Yes.
And as promised, here's the spurging.
Was a political move. Was a move so the left would be like, whoa, look at this progressive show that loves our children enough to show them this, to let them know that there are some people with differences. That's not the show's job. That is our job. And putting that in at the end of a show just to try to squander up some sympathy isn't going to work. Don't do that. If any of you that made this show have kids, I will pray for them. They're gonna need it. Because right now, you're not showing that you have your child's best interest.
Imagine someone who doesn't even know you going out into your neighborhood, handing out flyers of how disgusting and bad you are, creating online videos of you just to get people to hate you. And people believe every lie they tell of you. You turn on the TV, you see the news is talking about how dangerous you are when you haven't even done anything. You appear in any space and you are unwelcomed. Someone who is like you appears on TV and everyone rages. Not one of them knows you at all or what you believe in. They make up what you believe in. They use you as the scapegoat for all of your country's problems to distract people from the real problems. It's time to stop calling a group of people a political statement. Before Nightshade, there was outrage over the main human cast simply because they are of color. These characters weren't seen as regular people, they were being called part of a woke political agenda. People said that these characters were being forced upon them, and they're saying this even about the characters in the new movie Rise of the Beasts. Skin color, hair type and color, eye color, other features.
So as you can see, they both kind of like attack the other side. They both take like jabs, and that's kind of like a lot of what the video kind of like boils down to at the end. The left lane guy kind of makes it more ambiguous because he's just saying they are doing this. These people are. He's not saying who these people are. But he is talking about them. He's saying, well, they're saying everything is a part of a woke mob, and they're attacking us, and they're doing this. Like, he's playing the victim, and he's trying to make the other side seem like the evil bad guys. And then the other dude, the more right lane one, is just saying, well, these guys are like trying to make these kids be like pedophiles, like they're trying to get at the kids or whatever. And it's just like, both sides are so incredibly dishonest in these like clips, and at least one side is like being honest about who they're attacking, while the other side is like making it very ambiguous. But if you are in the know of what context he's talking about, he's clearly talking about white wing people. So it's just very childish, and I know this probably isn't put together the best because I don't edit. I mean, I can edit, I just suck at it. But, I'm gonna kind of, like, freeform it from this point on, because, like, grabbing clips and, like, inserting them in is not exactly that easy to make work well, especially when you don't know how to edit that good. So, to attack some other points made in these videos, and just in general, I think that a lot of the problem, too, is this guy even goes on to say at one point, the more left lane one, he goes on to say, like, transgender isn't a sexuality. Like, you could Google this. It actually is. And to say that you identifying as another sex to present yourself as that thing sexually is not a sexuality or has nothing to do with sex is, like, absurd. If you are presenting yourself to fit within that sex and you are trying to, like, present yourself sexually to fit those rules, yeah, then you totally are going to be sexual to represent that sort of idea. Like, you would want a hyper-sexualized version of what a female would be, right? If you're a male and you're trying to, like, become a woman or whatever, like, you're gonna want to, like, hyper accentuate it so that you pass better. This isn't like a hyper radical white wing take. This is just common sense. And as for the oh my god, it's sexualizing thing, if you look at the designs of these characters in the show, they're not sexual. In fact, there was a lot of female characters who were Transformers who were a very high degree more sexual, as to highlight the fact that they are female before this point. Like I said, RC as an example. However, who gives a shit at the end of the day? You know, if you're anywhere at all in the world, you're going to see adult females who are more sexually dressed. If you exist in any space that is not your room 24/7. Like, you're going to see females walk around it at Walmart in tight jeans or, you know, shorts, you know, that sort of thing. Of course, you shouldn't show nudity, but, you know, you're going to see a degree of sexuality if you exist anywhere in the world. Like, that's just a reality of life. You can, like, hide your kids from that if you want, but that's just, you know, it's an unavoidable fact of reality. And even if you, like, keep them locked in a cage their entire life, there's going to be a point where they need to leave the cage and they will experience this stuff anyway. So it doesn't really matter either way. And sorry if this video is cluttered or it doesn't, form well or whatever. I mean, again, I'm not an editor. I'm not that good at this sort of thing. I think I've done better projects with regards to editing before, but I just tried to put this together quickly because I had some opinions on what these two dudes were talking about, and so I wanted to make like a response video of sorts to them. And if you kind of like the more centrist takes I have, I probably will make more in the future. I have a God of War video I might edit or whatever. It's not going to work the best, but I have a God of War video in the works, and if you want to, look at that, that's coming up sooner or later. So, if you enjoyed me ranting and quoting these two guys going off about their beliefs, then you are fully entitled, or if you don't like that wording, you are allowed to watch more videos. In fact, I would promote that. Anyways, thanks for listening to me ramble on about this topic, and have a great day.